Hello. Welcome. You don't need to do anything right now. You don't need to sit up straighter, or pay close attention, or hold on to anything you are about to hear. You don't need to remember any of this. Not a single word. Not a single fact. Everything you hear tonight can simply arrive, and then drift away again, like clouds passing very slowly across a very wide sky. We are going to spend the next couple of hours together, moving very slowly through some quiet, gentle, entirely unimportant facts about the human mind. Not exciting facts. Not the kind of facts that make you sit up or think harder. Just soft, flat, ordinary observations about the brain. The kind that drift in one ear and out the other without leaving much behind. That is the whole point. So let your body settle into whatever is holding it right now. Let your shoulders drop a little. Let your jaw loosen just slightly. Let your hands go completely soft. And simply listen. The human brain weighs about 3 pounds. 3 pounds. That is roughly the weight of a small cantaloupe, or a medium-sized paperback sitting on a shelf. Something you could hold easily in one hand without any effort at all. And yet inside those 3 quiet pounds, every thought you have ever had was formed. Every memory you carry. Every dream. Every face you have ever recognized. Every word you have ever understood. Every single moment of your entire life has passed through something about the size of a small, soft melon. It sits quietly inside your head right now, doing its work, not making any noise about it, not asking for anything. Just 3 pounds of quiet, steady, unremarkable processing. You don't need to think about that. Just let it sit there. Let it do what it does. The brain is made up of about 100 billion neurons. 100 billion. Let that number go as soon as it arrives. Don't try to picture it. Don't try to hold it. Just let it dissolve the moment you hear it, like a word written in fog. It is simply a very large number. Too large to mean anything. And that is fine. What matters is this, right now, at this very moment, some of those countless tiny cells are firing very gently, very quietly, processing the sound of this voice, deciding that nothing here is urgent, and slowly beginning to settle. Nothing urgent. Nothing requiring a response. Just rest. The brain uses about 20% of the body's total energy, even though it makes up only about 2% of the body's weight. It is always working. Even now, even as you slow down and grow quiet, the brain keeps going. But the kind of work it does as you fall asleep is different from the work it does during the day. It is quieter work, maintenance work, the kind of careful, unhurried tidying that happens when a large building empties out at the end of the day. The lights dim slowly. The corridors go still. And somewhere in the back, a quiet process begins. Organizing, sorting, letting things settle gently into their proper places. That is what is beginning to happen right now in your mind. The day is being quietly filed away. The human brain begins forming its earliest sense of the world very soon after it exists. The very first things it learns are not facts or words or pictures. They are feelings, warmth, stillness, the sense of being held and supported, the quiet, wordless knowledge that everything is safe. Those feelings are the oldest things stored in the mind. They were there before language, before memory, before any thought you could put a name to. And they are still there now, sitting quietly beneath everything else, beneath the busy thoughts and the plans and the worries. Just warmth, just stillness, just the soft, reliable sense that everything is all right. Let that come forward a little tonight. Your brain processes a very large number of thoughts each day. Tens of thousands. The exact number doesn't matter. Let it dissolve before it even fully lands. What matters is that most of those thoughts you never even notice. They pass through like shadows moving very slowly across a wall. There for a moment and then simply gone, without leaving anything behind. Most thoughts are not important. Most of them are simply the brain doing its background work, checking things, noticing things, running small quiet calculations that have no particular meaning and require no response from you at all. Right now, the thoughts are arriving more slowly, each one a little softer than the last, each one dissolving before it fully forms. Slower and slower still, until there is almost nothing left to follow. The part of the brain responsible for making decisions sits just behind your forehead. It has been working all day, making choices, weighing options, deciding what to say and what to leave unsaid, navigating all the small and large decisions of an ordinary day. And now, it is offline, completely. It has clocked out for the night and it will not be taking any more requests until morning. There are no decisions to make tonight. Not one. Everything has already been decided. Everything that needed to happen today has happened. There is nothing left to weigh or plan or figure out. That part of your mind has been given the night off. It has accepted. It is resting now. You don't have to decide anything, not even how to fall asleep. That will simply happen on its own. The brain cannot actually do two things at once. What feels like doing two things at the same time is actually the brain switching very rapidly between tasks, back and forth, so quickly that it creates the feeling of simultaneity. But it is never truly simultaneous. It is always one thing, then the next, then back again. Right now, there is nothing to switch between. There is only one thing happening. One voice. One soft, slow, unhurried stream of entirely unremarkable information. The brain can settle onto just this and stay there. Just this. Only this. Nothing else competing for space. The brainstem controls the most basic functions of the body. Breathing, heart rate, blood pressure, the quiet machinery of simply being alive. These things happen without any instruction from you. You do not think about breathing. You do not remind your heart to beat. It simply does. It has always simply done it, every moment of every day and every night of your entire life. Right now, your brainstem is doing its work. Quietly, reliably, with no help needed from you at all. Your breath moves in and out, slowly, without effort. Your heart beats, one beat at a time, steady and unhurried. You are being taken care of, very quietly, as you always have been. The brain produces different types of electrical waves depending on what it is doing. When we are alert and focused, the waves are fast and close together. When we are relaxed and calm, they slow down and spread apart. When we are in the early stages of sleep, they slow down further still. And during the deepest sleep, they become very slow and very wide. Long, gentle pulses, like the slow rise and fall of something breathing in a deep and dreamless quiet. Right now, your brain waves are slowing. The fast, busy activity of the waking mind is easing. The slower waves are arriving. The calmer ones, the ones that belong to the night, they are already here. The part of the brain at the back of the head manages balance and coordination. It helps you walk without falling. It helps your hands find things in the dark. It manages the 1,000 small adjustments your body makes every second just to stay upright and steady. But right now, your body is not upright. It is lying down, completely supported, going nowhere, doing nothing that requires balance or coordination of any kind. That part of the brain has almost nothing to do tonight. The work of balance has been handed off. Your body is simply resting in one place, held by whatever is beneath it. Everything can be still. The brain is approximately 73% water. It requires constant hydration to function well. Something so simple, so quietly essential. Your brain, like everything else in your body, is mostly made of the same substance as rain, as rivers, as the flat, still surface of a lake very early in the morning, before anyone is awake, before anything has disturbed it. The most complex thing in the known universe is mostly water, something that flows, something that takes the shape of whatever holds it, something that is, by its very nature, clear and still when nothing is disturbing it. Let your mind be like that now. Still water in a quiet, dark container. Undisturbed. Clear. Going nowhere. Deep inside the brain, there is a small curved structure that is responsible for turning experiences into memories. While you sleep, it quietly replays the events of the day. Not dramatically. Not in any way you would even notice. It simply reviews, organizes, decides what is worth keeping and what can be gently released. Most things are released. Most of what happens in a day does not need to be remembered. This part of the brain knows that. It is quiet and practical about it. It does not hold on to things that don't matter. And right now, it is beginning its nightly work of gentle, patient letting go. Letting go, letting go, letting go. Deep in the center of the brain sits a small structure, roughly the size and shape of an almond, that is always quietly scanning the environment for anything that might need a response. But tonight it has found nothing. It has looked at this room. It has assessed this moment. It has checked every corner of the present situation. And it is satisfied. There is no threat here. No urgency. Nothing requiring any reaction of any kind. It is quiet tonight, settled, still. just a quiet room, a resting body, a voice that is going nowhere and asking for nothing. Everything is safe. The scan is complete. Nothing to report. The brain can continue to form new connections throughout a person's entire life. For a long time, scientists believed the brain stopped changing after childhood. But research showed something more interesting. The brain remains adaptable at every age. New connections can form. Old ones can strengthen or quietly fade. The brain is never truly finished. This is called a long word that you don't need to remember. The idea it describes is simple and rather comforting. The mind is always, very slowly, in the process of becoming something slightly different from what it was. Even now, as you rest, tiny changes are taking place, so small they could never be felt, but real nonetheless. The mind is always, quietly, rearranging itself. Sleep is not a passive state. The brain is actually quite active during sleep. This surprises many people. We tend to think of sleep as switching off, going dark, shutting down completely. But it is not that at all. During sleep, the brain is busy with its own kind of work, processing the day, repairing what needs repairing, deciding what to do with everything that arrived. Sleep is the brain's quiet hours, the time when the work that cannot be done during the day finally gets done, slowly and thoroughly, in the dark. The closer you move towards sleep right now, the more that work can begin. You are not switching off. You are simply handing over. The brain has no pain receptors. The organ that processes all of the body's pain cannot itself feel pain. The brain simply observes. It receives signals from everywhere else in the body. It processes them and registers them, but it stands slightly apart from them, watching, understanding, but not itself hurting. There is something very calming about that. The part of you that understands everything does not itself suffer. It simply knows, quietly, at a comfortable distance from everything. Just knowing. The waking brain generates about as much electrical power as a very small, very dim light bulb. And as you move towards sleep, that output begins to drop. The electrical activity slows. The light in the room of your mind begins, very gently, to dim. Not going out, just dimming, softening. the way a lamp looks when someone turns it down very slowly in the evening. The room's still visible, the shape's still there, just softer now. Easier to rest in. Easier on the eyes. That is where you are right now. The light is dimming. Very slowly. Very gently. And it feels good. The brain stores different types of memories in different locations. Factual memories live somewhere different from emotional ones. Physical memories, like how to ride a bicycle, are stored separately from the memory of a face or a conversation. The memory of a smell lives in a completely different part of the brain from the memory of a piece of music. The mind is a very large and quietly organized place. Different rooms for different things. Different shelves and different folders. And most of those rooms are dark and still right now. Not needed. Not being visited. Just sitting quietly in the dark, holding what they hold, waiting patiently for morning. The human brain is the most complex object known to exist in the entire universe. That is not an opinion. It is the considered view of people who have spent their careers studying both the brain and the cosmos. More intricate than a galaxy. More layered than any structure we have ever found or imagined anywhere in all of known space. And it is resting, right now, inside your head. Going to sleep. The most complex object in the universe is quietly, unhurriedly, closing down for the evening. Like a very large library after closing time. The doors gently shut. The lights low. Everything shelved and still and waiting quietly until morning. The brain produces a chemical that helps regulate sleep. It is made by a tiny structure that responds to darkness. As the light fades in the evening, this tiny structure begins its quiet work, releasing its signal into the bloodstream. And that signal does one simple, reliable thing. It tells the brain that it is time. Time to slow down. Time to let go. Time to sleep. It is not a dramatic signal. It is a gentle one, like someone placing a very light hand on a shoulder and saying, quietly and without any urgency at all, "It is time now." Your brain has been receiving that signal for a while now. It is listening. During the deepest stage of sleep, the brain produces very slow, very wide electrical waves. Long and gentle, like the slow breathing of something deeply at rest. Your waking brain, when busy and alert, produces waves that are fast and close together. Short and frequent. But those fast waves are already slowing now. The frequency is dropping, beat by quiet beat. Each breath carries you a little further into the slower rhythms. Each word a little further from the busy, alert world. Moving toward the long, slow, gentle waves. They are not far away. When the brain has nothing specific to do, no task to complete, no problem to solve, it shifts into a quiet resting state. It is sometimes called the default, the state the mind returns to when nothing is demanding attention. It is associated with soft, aimless wandering, with thoughts that form without any direction and dissolve without any conclusion, with the mind simply drifting through whatever happens to drift through. That is where your mind is heading now, into the default, into the gentle, formless drift where nothing is required of you. Let it go there. There is nothing to hold on to. Let the thoughts become soft and unclear and easy to lose track of. That is exactly right. A thick band of nerve fibers connects the two halves of the brain, allowing them to share information and coordinate their work throughout the day. One side is generally associated with language and logic, the other with patterns and space. They work together all day, passing information back and forth. But now, as sleep approaches, the traffic between them is thinning. The communication is slowing. Each side is settling into its own stillness. The connection is quieting. Both sides of the mind are growing still at the same time, gently, together. The brain consumes simple fuel, and right now, its consumption has slowed. Its demands are modest. It needs only enough to keep the quiet background functions running. The breathing, the heartbeat, the slow, watchful drift towards sleep. Very little required. Everything running on low and gentle. Quiet. Efficient. Barely there. Humans spend roughly 1/3 of their entire lives asleep. 1/3. If you live to the age of 90, you will have spent about 30 years sleeping. 30 years of lying still. Of the world continuing quietly without you. Of the mind doing its interior work while the body rests. And that is not time wasted. Sleep is not an interruption to life. It is one of the most important things a human being does. Tonight you are contributing to those 30 years. Doing something important. Something necessary. Something deeply, quietly good for you. All you have to do is lie still. A structure deep in the brain acts as a kind of gatekeeper for sensory information. Almost everything you see and hear and feel passes through it on its way to being processed. But during sleep, this gatekeeper does something different. It begins to suppress the incoming signals. It turns down the volume on the outside world. Sounds become less significant. Sensations become less insistent. The outside world grows quieter, not because anything has changed out there, but because the gate is gently, quietly closing. The outside world can wait until morning. There is nothing out there tonight that needs to come in. The brain is very fast at processing certain things it has had a very long time to practice. Faces, movement, sounds that are out of place. But right now, there are no faces, no movement, no new information arriving that needs to be processed quickly. There is nothing here requiring speed. The brain can be slow, deliberately, gratefully, completely slow. Everything moving at a long, unhurried pace. One soft moment at a time. Dreams occur during a particular stage of sleep when the eyes move gently behind the closed eyelids, as though following the movements of whatever the sleeping mind is experiencing. The body, however, remains almost entirely still. Something in the brain quietly ensures that the muscles are at rest, so that you do not act out what you are dreaming. The eyes move softly. The body stays still. The mind travels somewhere of its own. This stage of sleep comes and goes in cycles throughout the night. The first period is usually brief, but as the night continues, these periods grow longer. The deeper into the night you go, the more you dream, and the dreaming is not far away now. During sleep, the brain has a way of clearing out the waste products that accumulate during waking hours. The channels between brain cells widen. Fluid flows more freely through them, and the waste is quietly, thoroughly washed away. Sleep is, quite literally, a cleaning, a gentle nightly rinse. The longer and deeper the sleep, the cleaner everything feels in the morning. The clearer, the quieter. Let it be clean tonight. Let it be rinsed and refreshed. Everything clearing, everything washing through. Everything becoming still and clean. The sense of smell has a direct connection to the parts of the brain that store emotion and memory. A familiar smell can return you, without warning and without effort, to a moment many years ago, with a completeness that no photograph could match. Right now, the air around you has a smell. Very faint, very ordinary. The quiet, familiar smell of this room, this space, this particular version of night. Let it be part of the comfort of this moment. Small, unfamiliar, and entirely safe. The brain can process what it sees extraordinarily quickly, faster than any conscious thought. The mind sees the world and begins to understand it before you even know you have looked at anything. But right now, your eyes are closed. The enormous area of the brain devoted to processing everything you see has gone almost completely quiet. A vast, dark, still region, resting, waiting very patiently for morning. The brain continues to process language even during very deep states of rest. Something is always listening, always gently tracking the patterns of sounds and words, not consciously, not in any way that leaves a trace, but the quiet processing continues. The brain does not fully switch off. Something is always gently present. Something is always very quietly there. And right now, that quiet listener is receiving these words, finding them soft and unimportant and easy to release. That is all they are. Soft, flat words, going nowhere in particular, asking nothing. There is a part of the brain involved in simply being aware of how the body feels, where it is, whether it is comfortable. If you let that part of you quietly take stock right now, it will likely find something unremarkable. A body that is lying down, supported, warm enough, not hungry, not in pain, not required to do anything at all. Nothing of concern, nothing needing attention, just comfort, quiet, ordinary, entirely sufficient comfort. That is everything. The brain can become accustomed to a state of busyness. When the body experiences urgency regularly, the brain grows familiar with that feeling. And over time it can come to associate stillness with something being wrong, with something being missed. This is why some people find it difficult to simply rest. The quiet feels strange. The stillness feels unearned. But nothing important is happening right now without you. The world is continuing quietly on its own, as it always does, and you are not needed there tonight. The stillness is safe. The quiet is safe. Everything is allowed to simply settle. The brain develops slowly and continuously. It is never truly finished. Never quite the same from one year to the next. The brain is a long, slow, patient project. And tonight it is not a project at all. Tonight it is simply a quiet organ inside a quiet body, drifting slowly and without effort toward rest. It has done enough for today. More than enough. It can stop now. The brain produces a chemical that contributes to a quiet sense of calm and well-being. Not dramatic. Not a rush or a high. Something much quieter than that. More like the feeling of sitting in a warm room on a cold evening, or finishing a meal that was exactly right. A low, steady, background sense that things are fine, that nothing is missing, that everything is, for now, enough. That is what this chemical does. It holds the baseline steady. It keeps the floor from dropping away. Right now, your brain is producing it, doing what it does, keeping things level and soft. Things are fine. Quietly, unremarkably, completely fine. The brain is capable of storing an almost unlimited amount of information, more than you could ever fill in a lifetime. An enormous, quiet library with more shelves than could ever be needed. And most of those shelves are in the dark right now, not being visited, not being searched, just sitting quietly, holding what they hold in the dark. The library is closed tonight. The librarian is resting. Everything shelved and still. No one looking for anything. Yawning is thought to help cool the brain. We yawn when we are tired. We yawn when we are bored. We yawn when the brain is beginning to cool and slow and prepare for rest. If you feel a yawn arriving right now, let it come all the way. Let your jaw open fully and let the breath come all the way in and all the way out. It is a very good sign. Your brain is cooling, slowing down. Everything cooling and slowing and settling. The brain is surrounded and cushioned by a quiet, clear fluid that circulates around it continuously, protecting it, nourishing it, gently washing it. The brain floats, very slightly, in this fluid. It is not sitting hard against the skull. It is gently suspended, held in a kind of slow, quiet drift. The most complex thing in the universe, floating gently in its own small, private, quiet sea. Held, cushioned, safe. The brain treats the pain of feeling unseen or excluded with a similar seriousness to physical pain. The feeling of being left out is processed through some of the same pathways as a physical bruise. This means that kindness is not a soft thing. It lands somewhere real, in something real. but those circuits are very quiet tonight. There is no unkindness to process, no moment to replay or examine. Tonight you are simply here, present, resting, and everything that watches for social pain has nothing to do. It can be completely still. The two sides of the brain are responsible for opposite sides of the body, an arrangement that exists in almost all creatures with a brain for reasons that are still not entirely certain. Perhaps simply because it developed gradually over an enormous amount of time and was carried forward because it worked well enough. The brain is full of these quiet arrangements, things that exist not because they were perfectly designed, but because they developed slowly and settled into patterns that were simply adequate, functional, good enough. Good enough is, very often, exactly right. The brain uses pattern recognition as its primary method of understanding the world. It compares new information to patterns already stored. It looks for similarities. It files things into existing categories so that it does not have to work too hard every time. This is why the familiar is calming. The familiar is already filed, already decided. It requires nothing. This voice is becoming familiar now. This slow, flat, unhurried rhythm. The brain has already filed it, already decided it is safe, already decided it is boring. That is exactly right. The brain can generate new cells in certain areas throughout a person's entire life. Very slowly, quietly, without any effort or instruction. Sleep supports this process. Rest encourages it. The act of lying still, of drifting towards sleep, is an act of very quiet, very patient construction. Something is being built right now in the stillness. Something very small, very slow, very new. The brain is capable of distinguishing between an enormous number of different colors. But right now, with your eyes closed, all of that complex color processing machinery is quiet. The world has become very simple. Dark, one shade, or none. There is something very restful about that simplicity. The vast, intricate machinery of seeing has stepped back. Right now, you need none of it. The brain dedicates a surprisingly large amount of its surface to the hands. The hands are extraordinarily capable instruments, and the brain reflects that. But right now your hands are still, resting somewhere, not gripping anything, not holding anything, not reaching for anything. Let them be completely loose. The fingers soft, the palms open. A large and very busy area of the brain is going quietly to sleep alongside them. The brain has an enormous number of tiny connections between its cells, an enormous number of small gaps between one thought and the next. The brain is, in a sense, mostly made of gaps, of pauses, of the quiet spaces between signals. Right now is one of those gaps, a comfortable pause between today and tomorrow, between waking and sleeping, a small, dark, comfortable space. It is fine to stay here for a while. The brain is sensitive to temperature. A slight drop in the body's temperature signals to the brain that sleep is approaching. Your body temperature is falling very slightly right now, as it does every evening, as it has done every evening of your entire life. A small, gentle, almost imperceptible cooling. But the brain notices, and it responds. It begins to lower its own activity to match the body's quiet signal. Time to cool. Time to slow. Time to sleep. The oldest parts of the brain manage the functions that were essential to survival long before anything else evolved. Breathing, heart rate, the raw essentials of being alive. These ancient functions have been running, without interruption, for as long as any ancestor of yours has existed. Through every generation, through every single night of every single life, they know what to do. They have always known what to do. You do not need to think about any of it. It is being handled by something far older and more experienced than your conscious mind. Old, quiet, completely reliable. Music activates more areas of the brain simultaneously than almost any other activity. It spreads across the brain in a way that very few other things can. Perhaps that is part of why music and quiet voices are so often associated with sleep, with the soft closing of the day. Even without music, the rhythm of this voice, the slow and steady pacing of these words, is moving through the brain in a similar way. Very gently, in a way that soothes rather than stimulates. Just a rhythm, just a pace, a steady quiet movement that the brain can follow without any effort at all. We are halfway through these quiet, flat, entirely unremarkable facts about the mind. If you are still awake, that is completely fine. There are just as many still to come. each one softer than the last. If you were already drifting, let these words become a background, a soft sound that requires nothing of you. Like rain somewhere in another room, like someone speaking very quietly in a corridor a long way away. The second half is even quieter than the first. We continue. The brain spends a significant amount of its energy deciding what to pay attention to and what to quietly let pass. Every second, the body delivers a great deal of information, most of it irrelevant, most of it below the surface of awareness, requiring no response. But right now, even that effort can ease. There is nothing that needs to be filtered or decided on. Everything can simply come in gently and pass through gently. Nothing requires attention. Nothing needs managing. Everything is simply passing through on its way somewhere else. The brain is capable of making decisions before the conscious mind is even aware of them. The thinking that produces a choice happens before the feeling of having chosen. The part of you that says I have decided this is following along behind a much faster and quieter process happening somewhere deeper down. And right now, the deeper parts have already decided. Sleep is coming. The process has already begun. The conscious mind is simply the last to know, as it so often is. The brain tends to process difficult or uncertain things more thoroughly than easy or pleasant ones. It lingers on what is unresolved. It examines what is unclear. This is a very old habit, developed over a very long time, to keep things safe. But tonight, there is nothing unresolved that needs examining. The habit can rest. There is nothing here that needs that kind of careful, anxious attention. Just a quiet room, a resting body, a voice that is asking nothing of you. There is no fixed boundary between waking and sleeping. The transition is gradual, a slow dissolve. There is no single moment when wakefulness ends and sleep begins. It is a long, soft threshold that you are crossing right now, very gradually, without any effort at all. You cannot point to the moment it happens. You can only notice, sometimes, that you have already crossed it, that something has changed without you having felt it change. You may already be closer to the other side than you think. A small structure in the brainstem regulates how awake or asleep we feel by releasing a chemical that keeps things alert and attentive. When that structure quietens, the brain begins moving towards sleep. Right now, that structure is becoming quieter. Its output is diminishing. The alertness it maintains is fading, very gradually, like the color draining from the sky in the last slow minutes after sunset. Not sudden, not dramatic, just a slow, even, continuous dimming. The last of the alertness going out, very gently. The brain forms its strongest memories during emotionally significant moments. Neutral, uneventful, quiet moments are not strongly remembered. They pass through and are released. This moment, right now, is very neutral, very quiet. There is nothing emotionally significant happening here. This moment is simply passing, gently, without leaving much of a trace at all, dissolving even as it arrives. The brain regulates wakefulness through a careful chemical balance that shifts throughout the day. As evening arrives, the chemistry changes. The signals that maintained alertness begin to fade, and in their place, a different, slower, heavier chemistry takes over, pulling gently downward. The way gravity pulls at something that no longer has any reason to stand. Let it pull. Sometimes, just as a person is falling asleep, the body produces a brief, sudden muscle contraction. A small, startling feeling, as though missing a step. It is thought to be a very old reflex, something inherited from ancestors who slept in places where holding on mattered. If it happens tonight, simply let it pass. It is just an old alarm that has not been told everything is safe now. Everything is safe now. The alarm can rest. Focused attention can only be maintained for a limited time before the mind naturally begins to drift. After that, lapses creep in. The mind moves away from the task and begins to follow its own soft, aimless trails. That drifting is not a failure. It is the brain's natural rhythm, its built-in rest cycle. Right now, the drift has been arriving for a while. The effort of following these words is becoming less and less necessary. Let it drift. There is nothing here to hold on to anyway. While you sleep, the brain makes quiet decisions about what was worth keeping from the day, what to carry forward and what to let go of. It is a gentle editorial process, choosing, releasing, and what does not need to be kept is already, even now, being very gently released. 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 The brain builds itself, largely, from what it encounters. From every person it meets, every room it sits in, every quiet afternoon and every ordinary day that passes through it. Your brain was built by your life. by everything that has ever happened to you, including all the ordinary, unremarkable days you have completely forgotten. It is entirely and specifically yours, built quietly over many years for you. The brain quietly holds notes of things you intended to do in the future and surfaces them at the right moment. But right now, any notes held for tomorrow can be set down. They will still be there in the morning. The brain will find them again when it needs them. For now, the notepad is closed. Tomorrow begins tomorrow. Tonight simply belongs to tonight. The brain can enter a state of flow, in which activity feels effortless and the sense of self becomes very quiet. Self-consciousness fades. The internal narrator goes still. Something similar is happening right now. A narrow, gentle channel of attention. Just this voice. Nothing difficult. Nothing requiring any effort or decision. The internal narrator is growing very quiet. Self-consciousness is fading. Just this. Only this. The brain experiences time differently depending on how calm or how anxious it is. When the mind is relaxed and soft, time becomes difficult to track. The minutes stop announcing themselves. They pull together and become formless. Right now, time is becoming soft. Its edges are blurring. Let time become formless. Let it spread and pool and go wherever it goes. There is no clock here. Nothing being counted. The brain contains many kinds of cells that are not neurons at all, but which quietly support and protect the neurons. For a long time they were overlooked, but research revealed that they do far more than anyone originally understood. Quiet, unassuming cells, doing important work without recognition, without any fuss. There is something quietly admirable about that kind of work. Memory is not a recording. It is a reconstruction. Every time we remember something, we reassemble it from fragments, and in that reassembling, small things shift. Details change. The order rearranges itself. The past as the brain holds it is more like a painting than a photograph. Mostly accurate, but shaped, inevitably, by the painter. Tonight, the painter is resting. The paintings can sit quietly on their walls. Nothing being added. Nothing being changed. Everything simply resting as it is. When a behavior is repeated enough times, the brain learns it and gradually automates it, removing it from conscious thought and running it quietly in the background. And sleep, for many people, becomes a kind of habit too. The same environment, the same sensations, the same quiet signals that mean, this is what we do here. This is where we rest. The brain knows what to do here. It has done this before many, many times. It knows exactly what comes next. At the edge of sleep, the body grows still and the muscles relax, but the mind is not quite gone. Images can appear without being called. Thoughts can arrive that feel slightly disconnected or loosely strange. Sounds can seem different. This is the borderland, the territory between waking and sleep. You may be in it right now, or moving through it. Let the strangeness be welcome. It means you were nearly there. The brain quiets the sensation of hunger during sleep. Every need that can wait until morning is set aside. Everything is deprioritized in favor of rest and repair. For the duration of sleep, the only job is rest. Everything else can wait. It will all be there in the morning, as it always is. But for now, it is waiting, quietly. On the other side, the brain follows the pace of what it hears. A slow voice encourages slow breathing. Slow breathing encourages a quieter heart rate. Everything begins to follow the rhythm that is offered. This voice is slow. These words are slow. The pace is deliberate and soft and unhurried. And the body is following. The heart is quiet. The breathing is even. Everything moving at the same slow, steady, nowhere to be pace. The brain continues to learn and adapt throughout an entire life. And some of the most important work of learning happens not during the day but at night, during sleep, when the brain quietly decides what to carry forward. It is doing that work right now, without any effort from you, without any direction. You are learning even as you sleep, very slowly, very quietly, without trying at all. When very tired, the brain can take sleep in very small doses of just a few seconds. One moment you are listening, and then there is a brief, quiet gap, and then the voice continues as though nothing happened. Those gaps are sleep. Very small portions of it. If you have already had a few of those gaps tonight, that is a very good sign. Welcome. The critical, evaluating, self-monitoring part of the mind is among the first to go quiet as sleep begins. The voice that judges. The voice that second-guesses. The voice that runs through tomorrow's list and checks that everything is in order. That voice is losing its signal now, becoming harder to maintain, becoming quieter and quieter until it is barely there at all. It will return in the morning, reliable and familiar as always. But tonight it is going quiet, and without it, everything becomes softer, easier, more willing to simply let things be. At the edge of sleep, the mind is sometimes visited by unexpected ideas or images, things that arrive without being summoned, thoughts that seem looser and stranger and more interesting than ordinary waking thoughts. You don't need to catch any of them tonight. Whatever comes, let it come. And whatever goes, let it go. You don't need to hold on to anything. The brain has a chemical that drives wanting and anticipation. But right now there is nothing to want, nothing to anticipate, no reward being pursued. That wanting has paused tonight. The reaching forward has stopped. Everything that is needed is already here. There is nothing to move toward. Just rest. Everything is already here. Sleep supports the immune system. During the deeper stages of sleep, the body performs quiet maintenance work that keeps everything functioning well. Tonight's sleep is doing work. Invisible work. Work you will not see or remember. But work that matters, nonetheless. Work that is good for you. The brain relaxes more deeply in a familiar sleeping environment. It has already assessed this place, already decided it is known, already decided that nothing here requires any attention. You are in a known place, a safe place, a place the mind has already approved. There is nothing here to watch for, nothing here to guard against. Everything is already safe. The brain continues to gently process physical sensation even during sleep. The sense of warmth, of being held, of the surface beneath you, remains accessible at some quiet level. Right now, you can feel the surface you are lying on, the weight of what is covering you. Small, steady, familiar. These sensations are not asking for anything. They are simply there, continuous and quiet and completely safe. Like a familiar clock in a familiar room. Present, requiring nothing. A chemical called adenosine builds up throughout every waking day, creating a gentle, growing pressure towards sleep. Every hour spent awake, it accumulates. By now, after a full day, the sleep pressure is considerable. The brain is ready. The chemistry is in place. Everything is saying the same quiet thing. Now, the brain is capable of working on things quietly in the background while you sleep. Problems that seemed impossible the evening before can seem different in the morning. You don't need to bring anything to solve tonight. But if the brain finds something to work on in the dark, let it work. It is good at this. The quiet mind is a patient and capable thing. It can be trusted to do its work while you rest. Both the deliberate and automatic attention systems of the brain are at rest right now. Nothing is being chosen to focus on. Nothing unexpected has arrived to trigger a reaction. The brain is attending to nothing in particular. Simply floating, unfocused, undemanded, unrequired. Being around other people requires the brain to run a quiet but continuous social process. Reading, tracking, managing, anticipating. Right now there is no one to read or track, no impression to manage, no face to interpret. You can be completely unobserved, entirely yourself, needing to be nothing for anyone, just resting quietly in the dark. The brain creates a continuous sense of a self moving through time. Moment to moment it weaves together thought and sensation and memory into the feeling of one coherent, continuous person. But as sleep approaches, this continuous narrative begins to fragment. The thread becomes harder to follow. Sentences begin and do not finish. One moment leads loosely to another. The story of today is dissolving. The thread is softening. The self is becoming quiet. Let the narrative go. It will return. For now, let it dissolve. The brain has a remarkable capacity for recovery. After difficult nights, it uses the first good opportunity to restore what was lost. It is resilient, patient. It waits for the chance to rest properly and uses it fully when it arrives. Tonight is that opportunity. The brain is ready. Let tonight be a long, soft, generous night. Even when nothing is being done, the brain is doing something. Running maintenance, processing, doing the quiet work that keeps everything functioning. It does not need your direction for this. It knows what needs doing. You can let go completely. The work is in very good hands. Quiet, reliable, experienced hands. You can let go. Even during sleep, the brain continues to monitor the environment for sounds that truly matter. Your own name, something genuinely unexpected, something that would require waking. It knows how to wake you if waking is truly necessary. And it knows the difference between what matters and what doesn't. Everything ordinary and soft and safe passes by without waking you. This voice is ordinary and soft and safe. It passes by without waking you. When the brain encounters damage, it does not rebuild what was lost. It reroutes. It finds a different way through. It adapts the existing structure to work around what is no longer there. The brain does not give up when a road closes. It simply, patiently, quietly finds another route. It always finds another route. And now we arrive at the last one. The final quiet, gentle, unremarkable fact about the mind. The brain is not a machine. It is not a computer or a database or any of the mechanical things we reach for when we try to describe it. It is something older and stranger and more intimate than any of those things. It is the organ through which everything you have ever experienced has passed. Every morning you have woken into. Every person you have ever loved or lost. Every meal, every season, every moment of beauty or boredom or quiet contentment. All of it has come through here. All of it has been held, however briefly, inside this quiet, 3-pound thing sitting gently inside your skull. And tonight, it is resting. Tonight it is lying still, inside a still body, in a quiet room, at the end of another ordinary day. It has done enough. It has thought enough. It has carried everything that needed carrying. And now it can stop. That is all. The facts are finished. The words are almost done. There is nothing left to listen for. Nothing left to follow. Just the quiet. Just the dark. Just the slow, easy weight of your body resting in place, going nowhere. Sleep whenever you are ready. Or even if you are not quite ready, it will come. It always does. Good night.
You don't need to do